Hello, welcome. So today we are here to talk about how in the past 4 years roughly, I have read now, sorry if the camera's moving, 100 books in Spanish. This was not like a specific goal or anything. Read 100 books to learn Spanish or anything like that. I just am a reader. I love to read and I'm learning Spanish. So naturally, not naturally exactly. It did take some effort to get started for sure. But so I don't have a particular agenda with this video other than just talking through how that was basically. 2021 was the first year that I read full books in Spanish, and I read 5 graphic novels and 3 regular books. So that was 8 books total. 2022, I read 31 books total. I read 12 I'm just gonna say normal books. I don't know, 12 books, 16 audiobooks, and 3 graphic novels. 2023, I read 52 books. I read 20 books that were not graphic novels with my eyes. I don't know how to say this. 20 normal books, 27 audiobooks, I think, and then 5 graphic novels. 2024 so far, I've read 26 books. I just finished one today, so I have to add one to this number. 15 physical books, 8 audiobooks now, and 3 graphic novels. So that is a total of 117 books, 50 physical books, 51 audiobooks, I think, and 16 graphic novels. As far as where each fits in like difficulty, these numbers also are a little bit iffy because this was just me kind of mentally categorizing books, so you know. But approximately 8 of them were children's books, 30 were YA or middle grade. So that could be like The Hunger Games, or it could be like Esperanza Rising. 64 of them were aimed at adults. As far as fiction versus non, I am a majorly fiction reader, even though I do have some nonfiction that I like, but I'm a fiction reader by and large, so only 5-ish of these were nonfiction. The other, like 112 or something, were fiction. I did forget to count before this how many were natively in Spanish and how many were translated into Spanish, and so I will have that on the screen, but blank many were natively in Spanish and blank many were translated into Spanish. Where I get most of my books, I think, might be of interest to people. I don't know. I'm in the United States. We do have some books in Spanish here, obviously. I don't live in a massively Spanish-speaking area, so there's not a huge selection at my library, but there are definitely quite a few at my library, so I get some at my library both through the ebook audiobook system and some physically at the library. But the majority of my books, I would say, I listen to through Storytel, which is a subscription audiobook service that I pay roughly $5 or $6 a month for. And then I also get a lot from Kobo, whether they're audiobooks or ebooks. I get some through used book sites like Better World Books. And then the other physical bookstore that I shop at a lot for Spanish books is Half Price Books. There's some children's drama happening at this park. So anyway, I did take a vocabulary test. I took 2 actually. One of them ended up being really simple, like fairly low level. And then I took one that I have taken before. So I took it in March before, and this was my result in March, and this was my result now. I wish that I had taken this like every year or even every 6 months, really. So this is my message to you if you are learning Spanish. Take something like this for, like at a regular interval, just so that you'll have that information, because trust me, you will want it later. There's a lot of cognates obviously between Spanish and English, and so sometimes you can guess from like the root of the word which is which. And then by the end, obviously, like I was just purely guessing and guessed when I took this test in English, also had to just guess at the end because there are some very, very difficult words in here. But I don't think I necessarily agree with it because I think there's a lot of basic vocabulary that I'm missing. there's a lot of basic vocabulary that I'm missing. Like the other day, a kid at work asked me something about cinnamon, and I realized I don't know what cinnamon is in Spanish. And so yeah, there's just stuff that like a native speaker, a native child would never even have to consider that I absolutely don't know. But as far as like reading vocabulary, I would say I have a like a semi-strong Spanish vocabulary. I don't think necessarily as good as this said, but like decent. It's okay. My focus is much less sharp than it is in English. So like, I don't know how exactly to explain that, but I'm sure you know if you are learning a language that it's like you can understand your native language almost no matter what. Like obviously there are, especially if you have ADHD, there are times when that's not true. But in general, that seems to kind of be the case. Like if there's a lot of background noise, I struggle to read physically also, just because like it does require more mental power than reading in English. I would say at this point I feel able to read almost anything, certainly very academic things, super dense like historical things, anything where context wise I'm really not comfortable is going to be a struggle 100%. Like I said, being a big fiction reader, nonfiction is definitely a little bit more out of my wheelhouse, and I've tried some nonfiction, but more dense, and they are really, really difficult. But then there are also like super, super literary works that are a struggle for me as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously. I would consider myself conversationally fluent, and I would probably consider myself reading fluent, but I don't consider myself like completely fluent. Like if we're talking about the total package, uh, no, probably not there yet. I just make way too many mistakes, and I still, like I said, have those really, really obvious gaps still, like cinnamon. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.